Hey, welcome. Just get comfortable for a bit. You don't really have to do anything, just relax and listen. I've got some horror stories for you tonight. And in the background, it's just some slow, calm gameplay of Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, just let it play. Clear your mind a little and stay with me for a while.
This happened in a small village on the edge of Shinano province, somewhere deep near the forests people avoided after sunset. No one really remembers the village name now, but they all remember the rule: never look into the well at night. A traveler named Daichi arrived just before dusk. He wasn't anything special, just a tired man moving between provinces, carrying a worn blade and a bag that had seen better days. The village looked normal. Too normal, maybe. Old wooden houses, a few lanterns hanging outside, faint smoke from cooking fires. People greeted him politely, but something felt off. Not hostile, just quiet. Like everyone was holding something back. An old man offered him a place to stay. Before Daichi went inside, he noticed the well at the center of the village, stone-built, old, covered halfway with a wooden lid. "Don't go near it at night," the old man said suddenly. Daichi frowned. "Why?" The old man didn't answer. It felt like he didn't wanted to talk about it. He stared at the well, then said, "Just don't." That should have been enough, but you moving around. He sighed and walked back inside, didn't even bother to try to sleep. Night number 2, he decided to ignore it, stayed inside the house, sitting close to the door. Yet his gaze would wander toward the well once more. Yeah, because curiosity just won't leave you alone. So, on night number 3, he returned, moving slowly, cautiously. Fog was denser today. Well looked darker. He leaned in again, and there she was, closer than before. She wasn't at the bottom anymore. She stood higher up. Feet weren't visible anymore. Body submerged into the well, only halfway. Head turned slightly upwards, looking at him again. Daichi didn't blink. No, he couldn't even move. His eyes met the eyes that had a strange color. Her hair was wet and covered her face, yet he could still make it out. Pale skin. Too pale for her kind. Her hands were gripping the stone wall of the well, not floating in the water. No, not floating. She was standing in it. Daichi stepped back, really scared now. No, this can't be. He quickly left, didn't look behind him.
Third night. He should never have gone back to that well. Any person would have left, would have simply walked away. But he didn't. And yes, this is where things really start to take a turn for the worse. He climbed back up to the well, as if he were drawn, as if something pulled at him, as if he had no choice. He leaned over the edge, very carefully, almost cautiously. She was close now, close enough that she could be seen. Hands reaching up along the well walls, fingers digging into the crevices of ancient stone, head twisted awkwardly, wet hair hanging down, draping over her face. He heard it then, the sound of dripping water. But no, not from the well. From her. Her fingers twitched, moved, gripping slightly tighter. She shifted her weight slightly. Not even a noise, not a drop splashing anywhere. She just moved. He fell back suddenly with a heavy thud, fell backwards on his hands and knees, breathed hard. This isn't real. This isn't real. Yet deep inside him, he knew it was real. That night, he bolted and locked the door. He didn't go outside, kept himself safe behind closed doors, never going near the well, holding his sword to keep himself safe. But it wouldn't. Then it began. Drip, 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 coming from within his own home. He stopped, frozen, and slowly moved his head towards the door, the seepage of water. His heart stopped. No. He glanced down. A footprint, wet and glistening, directly behind him. The door didn't creak. There weren't any footsteps, only another drip of water beside him.
Shimane was the kind of province that made you feel watched. Not in a dangerous way, not at first. Just the mountains sitting too close to the villages, the cedar forests running right up to the backs of houses, fog that came in off the sea each morning and didn't fully leave until midday. People who lived there their whole lives said you got used to it. People who moved there from other provinces said you didn't, actually. You just stopped mentioning it. Takeda Hiroshi had been stationed in Shimane for 3 years, and he was in the second group. He was a samurai of middle rank, not important enough to be in Kyoto, not forgotten enough to be posted somewhere truly miserable. He managed a small garrison at the edge of a village called Inamoto, 12 men under him, a house with a leaking roof he kept meaning to fix. Quiet work, patrol schedules, supply records, the occasional dispute between farmers that required someone with a sword present to make the resolution feel official. His closest friend had been a man named Sato Kenji, who served beside him for 6 years before being transferred to the front lines of the Kessen campaign in the north. Kenji was the kind of person who made difficult postings bearable. Loud, funny in an unsubtle way, always losing at cards, and always convinced the next hand would be different. He died at Kessen in the summer of 1344. An arrow, they said, quick. Hiroshi received the official notice in early autumn and spent one evening sitting with it, and then put it away and went back to his patrol schedules, because that was the only thing available to do. 3 weeks later, the first letter arrived. This is where everything started. The letter came through normal channels, a messenger from the road, dropped with the regular post, nothing unusual about the delivery. Hiroshi almost missed whose name was on it. He turned it over, and the sender's seal was Kenji's. He recognized it immediately, the particular ink stamp Kenji had used for years, a small, irregular crane that looked more like a dropped brush than a bird. He opened it slowly. The handwriting was Kenji's. He'd read enough of the man's letters over 6 years to know it without question. The way certain characters leaned slightly left, the habit of writing the date twice at the top for no reason he'd ever explained. The letter said 3 things: that the road north of Inamoto would take a man named Ota before the week ended, that Hiroshi should not be on the eastern patrol on the 14th, and that the fog this season was different from normal fog, though it didn't explain what that meant. Ota was one of Hiroshi's 12 men, young, reliable, had a wife in the village. He died on the 3rd day of that week. His horse threw him on the northern road, broke his neck before anyone reached him. Hiroshi sat with the letter for a very long time after that.
That was the disturbing part. Ota actually died.
At first, when Hiroshi received the letter, he didn't believe it. No one would. When Ota died, Hiroshi still refused to believe it. He thought it was just coincidence. The second letter arrived after 10 days. Same seal, same handwriting. 2 more names were listed in it. A merchant who frequently traveled from one village to another through Inamoto, and an old guard from the garrison. They both died during that week, due to various reasons at various places. The merchant drowned while trying to cross a stream that overflowed after the heavy rain. The guard suddenly fell down in the courtyard. Heart attack, according to the doctor in Inamoto. Hiroshi never told anyone about those letters. There weren't any other words to describe what was going on besides sounding completely crazy. And once Hiroshi sounded crazy, the title of commander couldn't apply anymore. He kept those letters in a box below his sleeping place and opened and checked each seal to see it belonged to Kenji, and handwriting to see it was his, and predictions to see if they ever turned true. The 5th letter asked him to come to the road leading to the garrison gates at midnight on the last day of that month. He considered not going there. He sat in his house until the 11th hour, telling himself he wasn't going, and then he picked up his sword and went, because apparently that was the kind of person he was. You really don't want to miss out on what follows. When he stepped out of the compound, the street was empty. Low and dense fog, the sort of fog that Shimane conjured up every evening, lying heavily between the houses and the forest of trees. It was cold, and his breath could be seen easily in the air. Somewhere in the village, a dog was producing an incessant, low growl of sorts that didn't quite qualify as a bark, like that of a dog that realizes that barking is serious business, but has forgotten why. Then, from the other end of the road, where the village gave way to the cedars of the forest, a figure emerged. A horse, plodding steadily, as if knowing its way well. It was black, probably blacker than it appeared in the fog, and certainly bigger than the horses that were bred and maintained at Hiroshi's garrison, a powerful creature that had been made to carry its burden without fuss. The rider sat erect in the saddle. Hiroshi stood at the gate and watched them come, and the fog kept doing what fog does, shifting and obscuring, and he told himself the rider's head was just hidden in shadow or mist or the particular way the darkness fell between the lanterns. He told himself that until they were close enough that there was no telling himself anything anymore. No head. Not hidden, not obscured, simply not there. The neck ended. The armor continued above it into nothing, into cold air, into the fog that moved around where a head should be, like water moving around a stone. The horse walked calmly. The body sat straight. One hand held the reins, and the other was extended slightly forward, holding a folded letter. It stopped in front of Hiroshi. The letter was clearly meant for him. He could see his name on the outside in Kenji's handwriting. He did not take it. He stood completely still, and he did not take it. And after a moment that lasted approximately his entire life, the horse turned and walked back toward the tree line and disappeared into the cedars without a sound. He found the letter on the ground in front of the gate the next morning. He stood over it for a long time before picking it up. When he finally read it, it contained only one line. "There is one death left to predict. I have been trying to warn you." His name was at the bottom, Kenji's name, and below that, something that made his hands stop working properly.
a second name, written in the same ink, the same hand, his own. Hiroshi did not leave Shimane. He didn't know where to go or whether going anywhere would change what the letters seemed to know. He kept the garrison running. He ate. He slept badly. Every morning he checked the road outside the gate. Every night, somewhere in the cedar forest, something moved in the dark between the trees, waiting, it seemed, for him to finally be ready.
The forests of Mutsu province, where the trees grow too close together and the night feels darker compared to other regions. People there don't travel after sunset, not because of bandits, but because of something worse and terrifying. The Kuroda family had lived in that forest for generations, nobles once, now just survivors. Their house stood alone, surrounded by tall black pines, no nearby village, no help if something went wrong. But they had one thing others didn't: a lantern. Old, paper-thin, always burning. They said it kept the forest quiet. They also said if it ever went out, something would come. They called it the Night Slayer. No one described it the same way, but one thing stayed consistent: it hunted in the dark. On that night, however, the wind seemed to blow with more fervor and urgency, swirling around the home and shaking the shutters as if its movement alone conveyed its purpose. Inside the home, Lady Kuroda struggled to breathe. Sweating profusely, she clung to the edge of her futon in sheer terror, for she was pregnant and her condition was not well. Her husband paced back and forth across the floor with such agitation as he tried to appear composed. "We need a doctor," he told her, his voice strained and urgent. "But the village is so far away," one of her servants whispered, too afraid even to finish the thought. They were all aware of the meaning of that silence. Lord Kuroda turned to face the guard standing beside him. In a moment, he addressed him directly. "Take the lantern," Lord Kuroda instructed, "and go get the doctor. Have him here before the dawn." Daigo hesitated, not from fear, but from respect for the rule he and his companions had sworn to follow. The lantern was handed to him. It was hot to touch, too hot. The flame within flickered and flared, alive with some sort of inexplicable life. Lord Kuroda leaned down until his mouth was close to Daigo's ear. "Do you understand?" he demanded, his voice a soft yet commanding whisper. "Under no circumstances must you allow the flame to go out." Daigo nodded silently before heading off towards the trees. At first, everything seemed normal. The trees rose up like sentinels on either side of the path, their leaves whispering and rustling in the wind. The ground was dry and brittle beneath his feet, snapping as he moved. The lantern he held cast a small circle of light around him, revealing just enough to keep him moving forward. But beyond that thin circle of illumination, only darkness waited, an impenetrable void of blackness stretching on infinitely into the distance. Daigo quickened his steps, eager to escape the night sooner than later, lest he be tempted to linger in the dark. The wind increased, and this time it felt as if it was pushing with all its strength. Daigo tried to keep balance in front of the flame, which was shaking due to the strong wind, but he was not going to let anything happen to the only source of light in the darkness of the forest. "Hey, easy," the young man whispered, while raising his hand in attempt to protect the light source. The flame shivered, and after a few moments it got back on track, burning brighter with more confidence. Daigo exhaled and moved ahead. Several minutes of calmness and wind passed, and suddenly some steps were heard.
These weren't loud, rather they indicated that whatever was following Daigo was approaching slowly and carefully, trying to avoid drawing attention. Step, step, step. Daigo stopped and listened to the sound of these steps for a couple of minutes, and then he cautiously turned around. But he saw nothing but trees and the faint light shining through them. Daigo took the lamp and inspected the surroundings carefully. Probably an animal, he mumbled to himself, but the doubt was evident in his voice. Nevertheless, he decided to follow that trail of thought. Daigo continued moving forward, leaving the steps of another person behind. He took a step, 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 step. The footsteps followed him again. Now they weren't far behind Daigo, but on the sides. The young man felt something brushing against him as he felt how the flame shivered again. However, this time there was no wind that did it. It was probably someone who was trying to scare the young man in order to make him drop the lamp. Something shifted in the darkness. In the place where the shadow of trees ended, there was a glimmer of motion, a silhouette that was approaching closer and closer to the light. Daigo saw the outline of an animal. However, this particular animal had learned how to move in the shadows, sneaking into the light for just a second and then retreating back into darkness.
Daigo turned fast, raising the lantern. The light stretched outward, and for a split second, he saw it. Long, low to the ground, too thin to be a wolf, too big to be anything else. Then it was gone. No, no, no. His breathing got heavier. He started walking faster, then faster, almost running now. The wind hit again, stronger. The flame nearly went out. And that's when he noticed something else. The shadows. They weren't still. They were moving, not with the trees, on their own. Shapes stretched unnaturally along the ground. Long arms, too long, reaching. Daigo stumbled back, heart pounding. This isn't real. This isn't real. But the lantern flame dipped again, lower, smaller. Something stepped into the edge of the light. He saw part of it. A head, twisted, eyes reflecting the faint glow, and a mouth, too wide. Then more shapes appeared, around him, circling. The footsteps weren't just one anymore. There were many. Daigo raised the lantern higher, desperate. The flame shook violently, almost gone. No, stay lit, stay lit. His hands were shaking now, breathing uneven, eyes darting everywhere. The shadows moved closer, slow, patient, like they knew. The flame flickered, once, twice. Then it died. Darkness, complete, heavy. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then something grabbed him. A sudden force from the side, claws digging in, pulling him down. Daigo screamed, but it didn't last long. The forest went quiet again, like nothing ever happened. By morning, a search party went out. They followed the path, found no blood, no body, no signs of struggle. Just the lantern, sitting upright on the ground, still burning.